Hello, dolphin families. Welcome to another edition of Bedtime Stories with Mrs. Moodry. The month of October is Bully Prevention Month, and at school we've been discussing ways that we can prevent or stop bullying from happening here at Village View. And the story I have for you today addresses bullying by showing how hurtful it can be to make fun of someone else for being different. And it also highlights the importance of being self-confident and finding your unique talents and then encouraging that in others rather than judging others for it. And this story is called Giraffes Can't Dance. Let's take a look. Now, dolphins, you're going to see that this book has been well loved by many students over the past 20 years. In fact, this book is an original from my classroom library when I started teaching a very, very long time ago. So you might see that there's some wrinkles and crunches on the page, but doesn't mean that it's still not a good story, right? So here we go with Giraffes Can't Dance by Giles Andreatt. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully crooked and his legs were rather thin. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees, but when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Poor Gerald fell down. Now, every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance, where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad, because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. The warthogs started waltzing, and the rhinos rock and rolled. The lions danced to tango that was elegant and bold. The chimps all did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel, and 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked toward the floor, but the lions saw him coming, and they soon began to roar. "Hey, look at clumsy Gerald!" the animals all sneered. "Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool. Oh, Gerald, you're so weird." I see some animals laughing and pointing, and I'm wondering how Gerald might be feeling right now. Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. "They're right," he thought. "I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot." So he crept off from the dance floor, and he started walking home. He'd never felt so sad before. So sad and so alone. Then he found a little clearing, and he looked up at the sky. "The moon can be so beautiful," he whispered with a sigh. "Excuse me," coughed a cricket, who'd seen Gerald earlier on. "But sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song." Here's the cricket right here on the leaf, talking to Gerald. "Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So, imagine that the lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to." With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying, and his tail was swishing round. He threw his arms out sideways, and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leapt up in the air. I think this is one of my favorite pictures in the book. I think the illustrator did a great job of showing Gerald being happy. He's got a smile, right? And he doesn't look like he's worried about what other people think about him. He just looks happy. Gerald felt so wonderful. His mouth was open wide. I am dancing. Yes, I'm dancing. Ha! I am dancing! Gerald cried. You can see all the animals noticing Gerald. Then, one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched him, quite entranced. Means they couldn't stop watching him. They shouted, "Huh, it's a miracle! We must be in a dream! Gerald's the best dancer that we've ever seen!" How did you learn to dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how. But Gerald simply twirled around and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head and looked up at the moon and stars above. We all can dance, he said, when we find music that we love. And that, dolphin families, is Giraffes Can't Dance. Now, sometimes bullies pick on someone who's different because they don't understand that being different is okay. Bullies sometimes think that making fun of someone will make them feel powerful and important, but that's not true. Everyone's different in their own way, and that's what makes people special. So it's important to remember that it's more important to be kind than be mean, and we should celebrate each person being unique. And I celebrate each of you dolphins here at Village U every day and the uniqueness that you bring to our school and our community. So with that, have a good week, and we'll see you next Sunday for a new story.